You can not be on stage and be attached to what people think about you, their judgments. They're gonna say, "Oh, I don't like her hair. Oh, she has an accent. I don't like her clothes. Oh my gosh, I don't like the topic." I wouldn't say that. "Oh, you're way too direct." I already know exactly what people are thinking, but it doesn't matter. If there was one sentence that touched you, what I said, that's gonna change something inside of you, that's my whole goal. I'm not here to be friends with 1,000 people in the audience. I'm here to impact you in a certain way. And if I say you one thing, you can take one golden nugget out of my 90-minute talk and you actually implement, you do something with them. That is my goal. You don't need to like me. We're not dating. We're not sleeping together.
Esther, welcome to the Resilient Entrepreneurs Podcast. We're really excited to have you here today. And I think we're going to have an exciting conversation around tech and AI and entrepreneurship and scaling from very small to huge, because you work with clients up to the billion mark, which is amazing. So let's have that conversation. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I hit off with a big question to start with. Esther, if I were to hand you a magic wand today, what change would you like to see in the world?
Yeah, the biggest change I think is that people just respect and see each other for who they truly are and connect with the heart and the soul of a human being and not based on any politics, religion, skin color, or any other sort. So really connect with another human being, a heart and soul perspective, and not all the judgments that are so out there right now.
Couldn't agree more. What would that give us if that magic wand wish was to come true?
Love, happiness, kindness, joy, health. Yeah, I believe they're all related. Oh.
Yeah, we'd see a healthier world, a happier world. So true. How do we get to that? If it wasn't a magic wand, what is it?
There's a lot of work to do. I don't go into politics or religion. I just refuse to go there because there's so much dividends, and I think they are so messed up at the top. I think that's where the things has to be resolved, but that's a long journey. And the education system, I think, is just not good. I think we teach the wrong things. What worked like decades ago, right now we have to teach children about finance, how to spend money, about relationships, about love, about communication, about connection, about passion, about purpose, and not about all the nonsense they're learning right now. So there's a lot of work to do, and I think it's a lot of people are just not living their true purpose and their passion, so they just become little robots without being a robot, but they just another day passes and life passes until their last breath. And I think people are stuck in kind of a rat race. They just copy what their parents did or do what their friends do and don't have their own true things they really want to do. I truly believe that people, when they do what they love doing, they're just going to be happier people and they're going to make more money, because when you do things you love, it is very simple, but it gets so complicated, right? The school system, you have to study, and you're judged by your intelligence and not by your any other skills, and I think that's a huge problem. So
Yeah, we definitely don't value the soft skills enough. The things that make us connect, like you said in the very beginning, how important connection is. And the things that help us to connect aren't the things that we are taught in schools or actually, are judged on. Such a good point. As a woman in tech, like tell us about that experience, because
I know I can talk about that for hours, because women in tech is not an easy task. I can promise you that. Like it's uh I've been fortunate enough that I've been in many industries, mainly work with men. So I understand their language and their thinking, and also their very narrow minded being. No offense, men, when you're listening. I love men. My best friends are men. Working with men is, you just have to just downsize your level of, connecting or having conversations. It's very simple. Tech is mainly a men's world, although a lot of women are going into the tech space. And what I see with women in tech, it's more infused with empathy and connection and communication. while men are more focused on tech, what can it do and how big can we build it, how much money can we make, and can we be the biggest thing on the planet, while women are more focused, how can we really impact with our tech and not just focused on how do we make billions, although it would be nice, but it's a different world. It's still the main stage is when tech is a topic. There are mainly men on stage. Well, I think women have so much to say about it. It actually comes from a deeper understanding of how humans use tech and how they should use tech and how tech should be integrated with emotional intelligence and empathy and not just like creating more robots. I think we already have enough of those.
Well, hearing you talk about that, Esther.
Right? Women-owned business in general, if you go beyond like 5 employees, you're run into challenges that men in general don't. Women are way more emotional, we all know that. But also when it comes to funding, 98% of funding that's available goes to men. Men-owned businesses, male-owned businesses. So only 2% goes to women-owned businesses. That's like ridiculous. While women are the future and women are building very strong empires right now, but they don't get the funding. It's so all self-funded. And I think that's still there's a gap there. So when it comes to tech and AI, like even our tech and AI company is totally self-funded. No investors, no funding. Even during COVID, we didn't get any of the free funds or the things that were available. We just didn't get any of them. So it's yeah, we have to work twice as hard, I would say, to build a very small business. Yeah,
Why do you think why do you think that is? Why are women not getting it? Are we not applying for that funding as much? Is it the
are applying.
mm,
Uh, it's the risk factor of women is higher in, but they're all men deciding that. Okay, you have to understand the men at the top that are in charge of all the funds of the VCs or family office are mainly men who are the decision maker. Where does the money go? And money have men have like a black and white perspective, and women have more like the whole color palette that comes across. How can we use the funding? It comes from the decision making. I think it's men, and men wanna. It's more safe to invest in the men. Women are more likely to go in different directions, or they want to go where there's impact, and they have a family and kids, and there's a lot of judgment around that. Although I think that changed over the years, but where men are leading, it's also where the funding goes. So men feel safer to invest in buddies than in women.
yeah, absolutely. This is the institutionalized isms. The same thing happens with racism. If you have a lot of white people on a board, they're going to make white decisions. And it's just as simple as that. Same thing with funding. And we've also seen statistics, Esther, that say that actually it's the women's businesses that are more likely to be sustainable. They're more successful, especially in the microfinancing world. It's the women who are making this happen. But it's just so interesting about how do we shift that perspective. And I wonder, is it how do we get more women funding? How do we get more women on those decision panels? How do we get more women like yourself funding more women?
I think women have to start liking each other more.
Ooh,
Women are also not just, men are competitive. They can compete, but after work, they have a drink and they're just friends. Women compete and they're like cats. They don't even talk to each other after business, right? So women have to start liking each other and create power partnerships. And successful women should invest in other women owned businesses. And I think that's how we're going to change it. I think women have to start liking each other and don't see other women as competition, but as power partners, and then grow and scale together. And then when you make the money, you invest in other women owned businesses because you know how hard it was. I think that's where the change was. It's not coming from men. You have to stop looking at men to make changes for us. It's not going to happen. Like, look at the past decades. Like, as long as I'm alive for 50 years, it never happened. So it's like we have to be the change.
powerful.
I cannot agree more. Like, how do we make this happen? Women, ladies listening, building businesses, this is what it's about. I think we've often Yeah, maybe we work too much in silos and we think we've got to fight for our piece of the pie and protect it, but the collaboration that you're mentioning right now is where the true power is. When we do work together, they've always talked about the boys club and the good old, that's how men got so far ahead. If women start building our own spaces like that and our own clubs and our own, let's work together, let's build together, let's grow together, let's share resources, because that's what Vicky and I are so passionate about right now. And that's why we're hosting this podcast, to have women like you come on and share these kinds of messages and hope that we can inspire the next ones that are coming along to do exactly that. Because it's time. It's time. Women are growing. There are more women getting educated and running businesses and entrepreneurs than ever before. And you're right, we're bootstrapping it all the way. But if we collaborate and work together, what can we really create next, right?
We can create empires.
Mm.
And then the men will start working for us. But I still believe in a very balanced work environment, men and women. It's not that I'm not a feminist in the sense that we have to only work with women. Actually, we always hire men and women and black and white and gay and straight. You're not attached to any of that. Like, it's just, I want the best person for the job, the best person that's going to help us grow, and the best person that fits in the culture. And I think that is where how everybody should be looking at their businesses, is like, not like, oh my gosh, we have to hire this person because, no, you have to hire the person that's actually ready to do that job, and not start the job and then ask me how to do their job. Because then, no, I hired you to do the job. Why are you asking me how to do your job? No, here, plug and play, go. It's your expertise. And I think women evolve a lifetime. Women spend in personal development a lifetime. Men stop doing personal development average at the age of 26, when the brain's
Oh,
developing, right? So literally the brain stops developing at 26. That's why a lot of men, we say, stay boys for a long time, is because they just stop evolving. So when you're born, it's about your physical intelligence, right? Rolling over, sitting, standing, walking, running. Then when you go to school, it's about your intelligence, your intellect. Like, how smart are you? Okay. And then when you graduate or you get off school and you start working, it's all about emotional intelligence. Now that starts average at 26, that people realize, oh my gosh, I get further in life when I'm good with people, connect with another being, become a great communicator, build relationships, currency, right? And then when women do that a lot. Some men do it too. Not saying all men. I don't like saying all or everyone, but average. Okay. And then around 40, 45, a lot of women go into spiritual intelligence. Now they become empty nesters, 45, 50, and now they're like, oh my gosh, I'm halfway. What do I want to do with my life? What's my purpose? What's my passion? Like, so that's the evolvement. I'm looking at the evolvement of a human being. Just men stop average at 26. That's why we all say men are like boys. They just stay where they're at 26. And not everybody is on this planet to have a huge purpose. Okay. It's in one of the chapters in my book. It's like everybody has to find their sole purpose. And for some people, it is being a housewife and a mom is their purpose this lifetime. And that's it. And that's okay. I want people to understand that that's okay, because it's a very important task. I'm a mom. I know how hard it is to be a mom. I'll say it's easy to make $1 million and be a mom. Like, being a parent is freaking hard. So don't underestimate that purpose for any reason. So it's important that we really celebrate that too. If you all want to be the next Gandhi or Mother Teresa, it's going to be crowded at the top. So we have to have this layers in the population.
yes, and we need it all. And you never know what mom is going to raise the next Gandhi or Mother Teresa, right? So that is her purpose. That is her purpose.
Right.
So tell us more about your book.
Yeah, I was inspired actually when my son was born. I was like, what's going to be my legacy? Because I already know he doesn't want our company. I'm not building my company to pass it on to the next generation. You know, he has to follow his own passion, what he wants to do in life. And, I consult with a lot of companies that pass on the wealth or their organization to the next generation, and they don't want it. And then, of course, they don't want it. They want the money, but they don't want the business. So he has to do whatever he wants to do. And so I wrote a chapter about that because I realized when Kai was born, like, what do I want to give him besides trying to raise him as a great human being and support him and give everything he needs, and have him have some tough lessons while he's still in our house. It's very important. And then I thought I just have to write a book. People told me all the time you should write a book about my life. I went through a lot in my lifetime, and so my book is 18 chapters. It's about it's called The Undermined Soul. It's a transformation blueprint to become an empowered leader. Mainly women read my book, okay? That's also something. Like when women write a book, women will read it. And men like, oh, I have several men that are reading my book, so and I get great feedback. But it's really leadership strategies to really tap into your full potential. And it's my life journey. It's very vulnerable, authentic. In every chapter, I write something that happened to me, and then the lessons I learned, how I overcame it, and then the strategies they can implement in their life and business, and then there's some exercises. It's a powerful book for every entrepreneur business owner to read. I think they can skip a lot of years of drama and trauma by reading my book.
I can't wait to read it for one. And I'm sure it's going to answer a lot of the questions that I want to ask you today, as you know, in this conversation that we probably won't have time for. So I'm really like, one question that comes up, you talk about the things that you've overcome in your life. And Esther, just set the scene for our audience of how incredibly successful, you might use different words, but what you've achieved in your life. Just set the scene for them, and then they'll really understand the magnitude of you overcoming things to what you've actually achieved and who you've become. And then that's where my question comes in is, what was the one thing that made you who you are?
I think the one thing, as basically the little red cord that goes through the whole story, is that the ongoing healing of my heart and my trauma, and doing the personal development and getting coaches and mentors and doing the work to heal me so I become a better person. I think that's the whole thing. A lot of people skip over healing their heart, and you can never be successful because you will go back to emotional trauma, and the lesson will keep coming until you heal it and overcome it. And so why I see in business why they're not succeeding is not because they don't have the skills or not smart enough or not passionate enough. They didn't heal themselves. So every single time something happens, they go back to that inner child or that moment in trauma, and they relive that situation, and they have their own little box, cage, or ceiling, whatever you want to call it. They create it. It's invisible, but it's there. So there are many things that in my lifetime. The funny thing is I'm a speaker right now for thousands of people, but I didn't talk until I was like 20 years old. Like I was a quiet little bird trying to not be seen or heard at all. I have a twin sister, we're identical, and she was more the talker, and she did the talking for both of us. And when I went to the university, I was still very quiet. And until I had my accident at 23 with two motorcycles. I was on my bicycle in the Netherlands, and I ended up in the ICU for a month at two near-death experiences, and then in the hospital for months, rehab, 8 years in full body compression suit, like a lot of. I had to overcome that, right? And I think there are those impactful moments that change you and wake you up. Like life is short, let's get to work, right? That's why I always say people wait to get an impactful event happening, and then they change, or then they realize life is short, or they realize I'm doing the things I don't like. I hate my job, or I don't like my relationship. Get out of here. So in my book I write, why are you not start living what you really want at the age of 20, 25, 30? You don't need to be 50, get cancer or divorce or a bankruptcy or a heart attack before we're like, oh, let's start living our life, right? So one of my chapters is I had to die to start living. And so I was not happy until I actually had my near-death experience and realized why I'm here, and that I started to make the choices that made me happy, not what my parents wanted or my teachers or my friends or even my twin sister. So
Wow.
but it's the overcoming of the obstacles that makes us who we are. But you have to do the healing part. And a lot of people just heal the physical part after an accident or a heart attack, but they forget the emotional part. And that will keep coming back in all areas of your life until you do the work. And I think if that's one thing people can take off this podcast is start healing your heart, because if you don't do that, whatever your dream or desire in your personal life, in your relationships, or in the business and the money you want to make, you have to do that first.
Look, I couldn't agree more. And I think a lot of the time we don't see that healing that needs to happen. We just think it's normal. We think what we're doing is normal. So the number of businesses, I coach businesses on this as well. And it's the number of business people who will say, well, I don't feel like that's a good idea. Okay? I don't feel good about doing X, Y, Z. And to me, that's just a big red light that just says, if you're saying, I don't feel good about something, and you're talking about your business, then there's some healing to happen. This has nothing to do with your business. It's all about you and your limitations. And it's like a glaring thing for me, but yet the person just doesn't see it. They think it's normal to have feelings about your business. Is that something you'd be interested in speaking into?
Yeah, I think because women especially are so emotionally wired, they confuse their emotion with their thinking, or and then even with their sole purpose. And then I mix in their health situation too. Like, women are complicated. And I don't know why I started dating women to make my life more complicated, but I guess when men didn't work out. But it is the emotional part. You have to be able to manage your emotions, and you have to, like, where is this emotion coming from? Like, does it have anything to do with what we're talking about right now? Is it the business? Is it something? Because we mix it is where we create confusion and we cannot make decisions. So when emotions are up, logic is down. So we make really bad decisions. So I was, you have to keep that separate. Now, I'm in the business, I'm way more logic than in my personal life. I'm more in the business, I'm very, like, also very Dutch direct. I tell people exactly what I see, what needs to be done, and how we can do it, because I want to drive results. Like, I'm not here to be your best friend, I'm here to help you to drive results. If we become friends along the way, great. But if not, my goal is that at the end of the journey that you got better out of it, and that's why you hire me. That's it.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of those achievements in business. Just can we just take a moment for you to brag? We love inviting women to brag, so let's go for it.
Well, because there are many exciting moments in my career. I started as a dentist, but I absolutely hated. So then I had my accident.
Wait, what? You started as a dentist?
Yeah,
Like,
terrible. No,
couldn't have guessed that if you tried.
that is just because of, family and friends, and I didn't know what I wanted. Like they always want you to be an attorney or a doctor, right? It's like, okay. Um, I and I worked in corporate for a while, and I became very successful. I became one of the youngest female CEOs, running a 700-800 million dollar business with 800 employees, with only 4 women, 700 plus men. And then I started my own consulting business, very successful. So there were accomplishments. I think I'm very excited about my retreats. I hosted 79 retreats. January 2026 will be my 80th retreat, where I really help women to do the mindset, the heart set, the soul set, and the health set, to really embody all parts of their journey so they can be successful in business. And so I've been doing it for 18 years.
I'm coming to the next one.
Yeah, I'm doing 4 next year, 2026. I'm going to do 4.
Wow.
Some in the US, some international. I always mix it up. I think, and from not being a speaker or writer, I wrote a book, became an author, and I became a global keynote speaker, speaking for thousands of people. I think that is the best showcase of my personal development, from being insecure and not confident, don't like to speak, like, just I wanted to hide, to now being on the biggest stages with the big names, and I don't even care what anybody thinks in the audience. I think that are accomplishments I'm proud of. It is because of all the personal development and the inner work I've done. Otherwise, I would have never done that. Never.
I think that's where so many people are. They're in that stage of they want to live a bigger life and play a bigger game and grow and scale, but they're still hiding from themselves and keeping themselves playing small because of that fear of being on that big stage. So what was, like, you talk about your personal development, of course, all the work that you've done is all a big part of it. But what advice would you give to somebody that's there right now, that they know they want to play a bigger game, but they just are so afraid to get on that stage? They're so afraid to build their brand and get out there.
I think the stage is not the goal.
Mm.
I think it is becoming clear on your messaging. What is the one thing you want to share? What would you share with one person? Because when you speak on stage, you have to speak like you talk to one person, not to thousands, right? So what is it one message you really want to share with just one person? Let's say you become a consultant or coach and you're going to mentor someone else. What would be your main message? And then expand on that message, and then go to networking events and get the mic for 90 seconds. And then you say, hey, can I do a 15-minute talk next event? And now you get 15 minutes the mic. And then it is a journey. It's not like suddenly you're on the big stage. The big stages are hard to get on, and it's a journey, and it's not a pretty journey. It's not that it's nice to be on those big stages. Big stage is like war. And most of the stages are only men, right? So when you're a woman there, it's like, oh, you know, unless they hear and until they hear you speak. And so when they hear my wife speak, like, they go nuts. Now they all want a partner. And or when they hear me speak, they're all gonna run to buy my book and want to have me speak at their conference. But before we speak, it's like we don't exist. But then when they're brave enough to listen in the audience, then it's an interesting world. But the journey is building the confidence. It's like building that skill to talk, doing a lot of webinars, podcasts, go to a networking event, to small events locally where you get the mic for 30 minutes or an hour. But and then move and get the response from the audience, and then know what's going to work, what's not going to work, and then just keep evolving. It's, if you want to be on a big stage, it is a lot of practice, you know.
And also, Esther, I'm seeing that you're not scared of, or you don't shy away from the provocative. You know, there's been a few things you've said, I've gone, ooh, juicy. Like, oh, that takes a little bit of guts to say that publicly. And you just, it flows because you're very comfortable in that message. That's what you truly believe, and you're willing to share that. And I think I see a lot of women who really believe in something strongly, yet they're not always willing to share it.
Because they're still attached to what people think of them. They want to be liked. Your friends are there to like you. Your family is there to like you. Sometimes they don't even like you. It is about, you know.
Go, did it again.
Yeah, do it again. But you can not be on stage and be attached to what people think about you, their judgments. They're gonna say, "Oh, I don't like her hair. Oh, she has an accent. I don't like her clothes. Oh my God, I don't like the topic." I wouldn't say that. Oh, you're way too direct. I already know exactly what people are thinking. But it doesn't matter. You know, if there was one sentence that touched you, what I said, that's gonna change something inside of you, that's my whole goal. I'm not here to be friends with 1,000 people in the audience. I'm here to impact you in a certain way. And if I say one thing, you can take one golden nugget out of my 90-minute talk, and you actually implement, you do something with them, that is my goal. You don't need to like me. You know, we're not dating. We're not sleeping together.
I love it.
I like your point about, like, it's about the message. Really,
Yeah.
it's just about the message. If you focus on your message being the most important thing, then you can get on a stage and talk out of any size and talk about your message. So stop thinking about it's you.
Yeah, but the message has to be authentic and personal, and not content and content. It has to have a context about your life, what you overcame, or your insight, or something you created or invented, or something, but it came because of out of a pain in your own life, and now you talk about it. Because when it's emotional driven, they can relate to it. Now, if they're gonna admit it or not, that's their end. But it's like, it's not about the content. It's about being relatable, and that's why people want to listen. That's the only reason. And say things other people don't want to say or not gonna say. I say a lot of people, like even my wife says, we don't do that in the US. I said, I don't care. I'm from the Netherlands. I say it my way, and people actually need to hear it. Nobody's telling them. Their friends and family are not going to tell them. I will tell them.
I love this so much. And I love even that your wife is pushing back. She's from the US. You're not. So you're the foreigner, if we're going to use today's language. And then on top of that, she's, some people might say, well, she's the expert speaker. She's sharing stages with Tony Robbins and the like. And here you are saying, I don't care what you tell me. I'm going to do it my way. That's gold.
I think you have to get to a level that the reason you're speaking is not to for you. It's not about you at all. It's about the audience and touch their heart in one way or trigger something in their mind that they're gonna go home and change something so they can be better. That's the whole goal. It's not about you. Like when the speaker make it about them, that's when people walk away out of the room. Like you have to watch the audience. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah. So speaking, it's their own self-esteem. It's their attachment to what people think and if they like them or not. Are they gonna like my dress? Like I don't wear a dress. Like are they gonna like my heels? I don't wear high heels. I'm far from the thing they want you to be.
Yeah.
So
It's so
yeah.
good, so good. And look, I recognize that we're kind of running a little bit short of time here, and I'm really interested in getting to know a little bit more about your business, the AI and tech business, because I think that's also a really key message for our audience to know about, at least something that they may want to look into. And I think a lot of what you're just sharing about getting to know people and know yourself, it ties into that business. So tell us about how you use tech AI to help entrepreneurs.
So we created the world's fastest assessment in personality science. It's based in buying behavior. So why are people saying yes to you instead of no? So it's not based in psychology like DISC or Myers-Briggs or the color code or management drives insight. Like there are hundreds of those assessments. We all know them. We all have taken at least one of them because we're fascinated about who we are and like, oh, we're so amazing. But my wife invented this because it's not about me. Who's my customer and why are they going to say yes or no? And so she created the assessment. It's 90 seconds or less. We either have physical cards when you're in person, we have a text subscription where you do it online. You drag and drop the value cards and put them in order, and then you get a report about how amazing you are. And I receive a report about, hey, this is how to communicate, negotiate, and close the sale with this person. So we are the only assessment that actually send out two assessments at the same time. One for the person who's doing the assessment and one who's sending the assessment to communicate with a human being. And so we started in sales and business, and then we went into dating, marriage, and parenting because that is the hardest sale and communication skill you ever need in your lifetime. How to get my partner to say yes, my child to say yes, even on dating, like, no, that's not a good match. Don't do that. And then we evolved into AI. So we launched our first iteration of our AI in 2019. Everybody thought we're crazy. And then, of course, everybody knows what happened in 2022, 2023 with ChatGPT. And now the whole world is using 10, 20 different AIs because it's cool to use AI. Now, our AI is infused with the bank system, our assessment, everything, our content is all in the AI. It's emotional intelligence and empathy infused. So it reads the emotion, not just the words. So the words have different weighting. So there's emotional weighting to a word. And then we can scrape a LinkedIn profile in 2 seconds. It shows their personality type and how to communicate with the person, how to write a message. Yeah, and also what not to do. So both. And then also you can rewrite a message and say, please make this message more nurturing or make this message more knowledge, more science based, or and then it writes it in a few seconds and then it's ready to go. So that's our AI. We won Innovator of the Year this year. And we were competing with flying cars and big AI and tech companies and cancer cures and eyesight cures. And now we won. So that was a big deal. So yeah, going well. Yeah, and then it's always funny to ask, "Oh, are you the inventor?" So they always ask us if we are the inventors or we're just the spokesperson of the company. No, we own the company. We invented it. We created it, and we're building it. And yes, we're self-funded and women owned. Yes, we're all of it. And I'm the spokesperson too. Nice to meet you.
That I love that. That's it. That's it. Let's remind people who we are and what we're doing. And it just makes so much sense. It's such a relationship-based way to make sales. And it's using tech in a way to develop better relationships. I think we could all use.
Just connect where they want to be met. It's like a language. When you speak Dutch to me, there's this automatic connection because we speak the same language. Now we all speak English here, so we all understand each other. But your customer, based on their personality type, you can talk about your product in one way and they just glazed over, have no clue what you're talking about. They will smile but not buy. But when you tweak it based on their personality and just skip the things they don't care about and just only focus on what they care about, they're going to say yes. It's very simple. That's why it went viral. It's so fast. It's very accurate, and people are loving it. People have no time for 45-hour assessments anymore. Like, who wants to do a disc assessment for an hour?
Wow.
Nobody.
Yeah, it saves all the time and gets right to the heart of what matters to everybody involved. That
Exactly.
sounds amazing. Congratulations on winning that too, because it sounds like, yeah, this is the type of stuff that you should be really proud of. And this is what we should be celebrating and bragging about. I love that Vicky said, we need to brag a little bit more about our success.
Like, okay, women, get your act together. Get out of your own way. Find this power partnership. Don't gossip. We all need each other's support and link arms. And it's the only way we can change the directory of funding and growth for business owned women companies. Otherwise, it's going to be what it is.
Yeah. And it's just going to be more of the same on and on forever. So absolutely. You've nailed it. And that's a perfect way to wrap up this podcast today. Esther, thank you so much. We're celebrating you. We're celebrating women. We're celebrating building better businesses and collaboration today. Like, let's work together. Let's collaborate, celebrate each other. Let's share, and let's all grow and build better businesses for everyone and bring the diversity in every part of this business world, and especially in the financing. So come on, let's start supporting women through financing as well. Thanks so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.